Hey, it's Scott Herrold from SOS Radio in Las Vegas, and I think as we live in this culture that seems to push back against our faith a little bit, I think there's a real opportunity for our Christian radio stations to shine. We can think about how we bring the Christian community together. As our radio stations can be conduits to churches and nonprofits and the people in our community that are not just connecting with God through our radio ministries, but also connecting with each other and looking for ways where our ministries can find, like, how do we truly serve our city? How do we get dirty? How are we showing something tangible that we're here to make a difference in our city? Like the FCC would say, the reason the radio station exists truly is to serve our city. And when a lot of the commercial stations aren't doing those sort of things in our own markets, we can say, what can we do to tangibly leave something behind, to tangibly mobilize the people in our circle of influence to want to make a difference and just love on our city and not just be complainers about all the social problems and things that are going on, but to say, what can we do to actually work to solve one of these problems? We can use our volunteers, we can use our resources, we can use our donors, we can use our team, and we can go and say, what are the biggest social issues in our city and how do we tackle those things? How do we build that into our promotions and the events and the ways that we're serving? How do we bring our listeners into that to be a part of that solution? And I think as we're designing our promotions this year, we should think a lot more about that, what it means to truly shine a light in our city, but also to make an impact and leave something behind. Like, how are we, the church, being the hope of the world? How is our Christian community being the hope of our local city? So what can we do to isolate what those problems are? And then how do we meet those needs and provide some solutions? Like, for example, in Las Vegas, we had a handful of police shootings back like October, November, and a few police officers lost their lives. And so it had the city really stirred up, a lot of police families especially. And we started thinking, like, what can we do? Like, and how do we give back aside from just saying, hey, we want to pray for our police officers, which is awesome. And that's the first step. But how do we take that, make it tangible back to our city? How do we show these police officers we truly care? And so we had an idea where we got a police cruiser and we had a Newsboys show that was already scheduled for this coming weekend. And we said, what if we just kind of pulled something together and got a police cruiser parked right in front of the door as everybody's walking in, they're lined up for this show. And we went to Costco, got a bunch of sticky notes, got a bunch of Sharpies. We printed up a banner that was basically saying, leave a note of support, say thank you to our local police officers. And the police officers were so excited when we called and we asked if we could do this. And so they parked the car out there. We had our SOS radio tent and everything right there. We had our table with all the Sharpies and everything. We were just walking down the line, passing out these notes. And they covered this car. The people just covered this car with notes of support. And it was kind of cool because we actually took some of the key ones and even just bought a couple of frames, put them in the frames, and gave them to the police officers that came to pick up the car. I just want to show you a little bit about this. There's a picture of just a couple of the guys that came, and it was funny because as they came to pick up that police car, we were starting to take the sticky notes off so they could drive because they're covering the windows. And they're like, no, just take the ones off the windows, put them on the lower parts of the car. We want to drive back to the police station and we want to show all the other guys. Like, we're so excited about this. Then you saw lots of police officers tweeting about it. The ABC station here in town did an article about it. The Las Vegas Review-Journal and the Las Vegas Sun, they were doing that. We're talking about how the Christian community was coming together and loving on our police officers. And I'm like, okay, now that's the kind of impact that we'd like to do more of in 2016. So just a little encouragement.